Welcome back to the Eight-Sided Blog, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tennyson E Stead. I'm the writer and director of Quantum Theory. I'm a founding member of Eight-Sided Films. And today, I would like to talk about gaslighting in professional Hollywood. For folks who don't know, gaslighting is a practice used by brainwashing technicians and abusers, and Donald Trump, whereby you say something that's false so frequently and with such conviction that people start to question whether or not they know what's true or not, or whether or not they understand what truth actually is. And specifically in Hollywood, it's a practice that actually gets used pretty frequently, especially by people who are liars, which there are liars aplenty in Hollywood, or by people who are attempting to sort of breeze through the Hollywood system with substandard professionalism. And before we get too deeply into this, I just want to quickly say, a lot of folks will tout the idea that Hollywood's full of liars. I think Hollywood has a lot of people who lie very consistently. I think there's also a lot of people with a lot of integrity who are working very hard, and it's sometimes difficult to separate the two. But today we're talking about the liars. So, gaslighting. When someone comes at you for a business deal of some kind, whether you're presenting it or whether they're presenting it, you always want to make sure that you clarify exactly what your standards of success are and exactly what your expectations are, okay? And what I mean by that is anything that's important for you with regards to the production you're working on, whether it's a production you're getting hired to work on or whether you're hiring somebody to work on it. You need to make very clear what the terms are in terms of what's expected of you, what's expected of the person you're dealing with. And oftentimes the people who are going to be most reticent to meet those terms or certainly are going to try and evade them get blown out in that first interview. But every so often, you get a really sneaky person who gets through your screen, okay? And when they do, and when that person who either with the best of intentions plans to meet your standards of professionalism, but they're just way overextended and they don't know how to balance their lives and they're going to fail and somewhere deep inside they know it. Or alternatively, the person who comes in presenting one standard of excellence and then providing another. Both of those people can sometimes kind of slip through your cracks. And on the other side of the equation, when you call them on the problems that they're presenting, they'll often evade and dodge and kind of drag things out and try and get you so invested in their success that you start fixing their problems for them. And if that fails, if you can't fix these problems and there's a reckoning, you get to the point where you have to say, look, this has gone way too far, things have gone wrong, you've screwed up. Now let's fix it. One of the tactics that you're going to find at that point in the conversation is that they're going to start presenting other models of success as the model of success you agreed on, or the model of success you should have agreed on when you started this relationship, okay? And that could mean that they start talking about other people that they've worked with and what they expect and what's good for a show based on that, or that could mean that they start saying that they understood something different than what you said, even though you were very, very clear, okay? And you're gonna have to be prepared for this conversation because it absolutely does happen. There's people out there who will literally try to convince you that you're being crazy and unreasonable for sticking up for the agreement that you made. Literally, that's going to happen. And the way that you prepare yourself for that, and that's gaslighting, the way that you prepare yourself for it is by building the habits of making agreements firm and concrete and clear up front at all times, and knowing exactly what your standards of excellence are. Hammer down for yourself what you know to be right and what you know to be good, okay? It's really important that you do this over the course of your career as diligently and with as much discipline as you can. And then as you begin to really get a clear picture of what you know is good and what you know is right, okay, you have to make sure at that point that your habits reflect those things. You have to make sure that your standard of excellence, with allotment for the occasional mistake, because everybody makes mistakes, but with regards to your habits, that your standard of excellence is constantly reinforced by the things you're doing every day without having to think about it. You have to know that you can trust yourself to deliver on your word without compromise. And you have to know that you can trust yourself to deliver on your standards of excellence without compromise, so that when that person gets up in your face and they start throwing all of this static at you about how other productions do things different ways, or about how Hollywood doesn't work the way that you're saying, right? You have to be prepared to say, oh, but it does. Because I know how this show works, and I know what I provided for you. I know exactly what I gave you. You and I had an agreement, and I provided to the letter everything in that agreement. And you can just walk right through it if you have to. You can walk them right through it. You have to be so sure of yourself that you can just repeat your standards and how you maintain them just as diligently and just as patiently and with just as much confidence as somebody who's trying to gaslight you into thinking you agreed to something else, or that your standards are not reasonable in the first place. Because the truth is, if you can meet your standards every day, your standards are reasonable. If you can wake up in the morning and do exactly what you are requiring of everybody else, if you can get through the day with your ethics not just intact, but stronger than they were at the beginning of the day, right? If you can make it through the day and do better work than you did yesterday, then you're not wrong for demanding that of anybody else. In fact, it's only responsible to. And then the gaslighting. Now, here's the really tricky part, because gaslighting is still a psychological tool, and it's designed to make you feel like you're crazy. So even if you're doing all these things, it's going to be hard to sit there and patiently listen to this garbage and just stick to your guns. But you will have the tools to do it successfully. And that means that the person who's gaslighting you isn't going to get you in the heat of the moment to make agreements that compromise your ethics and that compromise your sense of excellence. And that's really important, because people are going to try to drag your ethics and your standards down to their level so that they can rely on you to let them off the hook again and again and again. That's the reason. It's that simple. And compromising the excellence of your productions and the integrity of your community, compromising all of the things that people rely on you for, is not worth making room for this one person who's making the production worse and weakening the community around you. So that, my friends, is how we prepare for the fact that people in Hollywood are going to try and convince us that we're crazy for doing the right thing, and they're going to try and convince us that we're crazy for constantly raising the standards of our productions, regardless of the budget level, regardless of the visibility of the productions that we're involved in, regardless of who else is there. It's our responsibility to provide the best entertainment and to bring the best people in around us, and sometimes a snake snips in and you gotta be ready. And that vigilance is how you maintain readiness. The other thing I will mention on the subject of gaslighting is that we actually produced a web series called Smoking Hollywood. Gerard Marzilli, one of our actors, and I created a character by the name of David Allen Rifkin, who frequently gaslights people. He gaslights all the viewers of his blog. Routinely. He starts right on episode 1. You can find that web series right here at youtube.com/8sidedfilms. And if you like this video, give us where's the button? It's down. I can't, it's below. Go look down below the screen, you'll find it. Give us a little subscribe. I'm mirrored, it's over. It's right there. That's where the button is. And and give us a like. And thank you very much for watching. There's going to be another 8-sided blog next week, most likely. And in the meantime, thank you very much for joining me. Have a magnificent afternoon, evening, whatever time it is you watch the video. Enjoy what comes next. Take care.